Hello. Okay, so I am just going to close this and bring this up. And I am just going to confirm that everyone can hear me. And I'm going to try and pay attention to the comments and make sure that everyone is able to communicate and ask questions. Okay, so I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes to hop on. As soon as you are on, I'm just going to tell you where everything is. I'm just going to double check real quick to make sure that you can hear me. Hello. Yes. Perfect. Okay, so welcome to one of these awesome boot camps. They're always a lot of fun, and I am going to show you a few things this evening. So if you're watching, please tell me where you're watching from. If you are new to newborn photography, what do you like to edit with? Give me all the things just so that we can see who's into what, and yeah, and we're just gonna have a lot of fun this evening. So if you haven't yet, you can actually, I'm not going to be able to show you right now, but you can go to the Facebook group that you're watching this in, go to the event at the top of the group, and I posted the WeTransfer link to download these raw images. Now, the link is only going to be active for 24-ish hours, so you have to download those raw images if you want to be able to play around with them and practice anything that we do this evening together. So I am just going to see if anyone has said anything. If you have, throw a thumbs up or a heart emoji. Welcome, Jacqueline. You're new to newborn photography. You're starting at the perfect time. Awesome. You liked Photoshop. Wonderful. So I love to use a variety of different tools, and I love using a few different things. I'm just going to show you briefly what I have that I use on a regular basis. So what I'm using is Adobe Bridge 2025. And this is a part of my membership that I pay Photoshop, and it's really affordable. It's like 12 bucks a month Canadian. I think it's so cheaper for Americans. And that allows me to download Lightroom, Adobe Camera Raw, Adobe Bridge, as well as Photoshop. So it's definitely worth the membership. And if you haven't ever used it, I definitely recommend that you get it because it's going to be a game changer for you. Now, the other thing that I use is called Evoto. So Evoto is a free it's a free software that is an AI software. So if you wanted to see what Evoto, like how to get it, you're just going to go into Google and you're going to type in Evoto and then you're going to download it. So it's a really great program. It's artificial intelligence, but you have the control, and it's free to download. They're going to give you 5 free credits to download 5 images. And then it's really as easy as it looks, believe it or not. Not everything is real on the internet, but this is legit. And I'm going to show you how I use it to save time in my workflow. And the way their pricing works is you actually pay for credits. So you can buy whatever credits you want, and that's just the way it works. So I am not trying to sell you anything. This is a free program, and it really does work out to being like pennies per picture if you decide to buy credits with them. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to edit. I'm going to show you my process for Evoto, and I'm also my process with Adobe Camera Raw and Photoshop. So I'm going to be giving a free gift at the end for every single person that hangs out until the very end of it. And in order to make this fun, please post comments, post questions. And if I'm not seeing your comment or question, maybe just send it again. Facebook can be really annoying and not show everything in real time, unfortunately. So, if there's any of my students watching and sees a question, maybe you can answer their question if I don't see it. But I will definitely go through the questions at the end if I miss anything. So again, grab the raw images and download them, and we are going to get started. So as you can see, I have these images ready for us in Adobe Bridge. And Adobe Bridge is different than Lightroom in the sense that it's just a way to either batch or sort or cull your pictures, okay? So for instance, when you are working and you want to do like a quick sort, you can just click on review or refine, I guess, and then review mode. And then you can go back and forth and you can number and label your images by pressing like a variety of numbers. So if you like to 5-star your images like I do, then you would just press 5 on your keyboard. If you like to label them red because you like them a lot, then you would press 6 and that's going to label them red. You just go back and forth, and you can even press delete on an image. Or if you like all of your images, then you can, I'm just going to hide that, then you can actually make a collection. So how you would do that is you would use the bottom and you would name it whatever you want, and then your collection would show up on the left-hand side. So welcome. We have a few of you watching. So give me a shout out. Tell me where you're from. And I am located in Alberta, Canada. So I'm right near Edmonton. So I want to hear where everyone is from and how long you've been doing newborn photography and what your preferred method of editing would be. So when I am working in Adobe Bridge, let's pretend that we've already sorted these images and now I am going to bring them into Photoshop. I'm going to press Command A and that's going to select all of them. And then I'm going to press Command R and that is going to bring them right into Adobe Camera Raw. So currently these images are raw. They don't have a preset on them, as you can see on the bottom right corner. And I am just going to look at so far not much on the chat. So if you are chatting, please. The WeTransfer is right in the, go to the events inside the Facebook group. Oh, see, now we've got a bunch of comments. Go inside the Facebook group and click on events. And if you click on the event for this evening, it's going to be listed in that discussion. So that's where the WeTransfer is, and you can grab those pictures there. Okay. So what I like to do, I'm just going to talk about a few different things. So exposure, I find, is something that people really, really struggle with. And they have a really, really hard time understanding, okay, how do I make sure my picture is bright enough? How do I make sure that, like, was my screen might be too bright, or too dark? I can't really tell. And then maybe I edit it. It looks perfect on my screen, but then it looks terrible on the print. So I'm going to give you a few tricks to look at when you are editing for exposure. So obviously try and get the correct exposure when you're taking the picture itself. That is number one, the first step. But obviously not everyone is perfect, and sometimes all of us will have an image where it's either a little bit too bright or a little bit too dark. So a few different things that you're going to look at. If you look at the histogram in the top right corner of my screen, you're going to see that there's a few different colors. I don't know if I can make this bigger, but you'll be able to follow this when you are working in your own program. So I have to say that Lightroom doesn't show the numbers the way Adobe Camera Raw does. So you'll have to look at your numbers inside Photoshop. So don't worry about the exposure so much in Lightroom, I guess. Just try and eyeball it, and then you can go through the numbers specifically inside Photoshop. So what I like to do is when I'm looking at the histogram, I want to make sure that the right side, the histogram isn't crawling up the right side, and I don't want it to crawl up the left side either. So let's look at a different image and see how the histogram looks. Okay, so when I look at this histogram, it looks actually pretty close to perfect as far as exposure. And the reason why is because the reds are not touching the right-hand side, and they're not climbing up the left-hand side either. So what that means is the exposure is looking real good on the overall picture, and what we're going to do as well is focus on the reds, and the reds are the skin area mostly. So we're just going to go through these, and we're just going to compare like all of these and just see the difference in the histogram. So I want you guys to focus on the histogram up top and just make sure that you're watching that and paying attention to it. Now, as you can see, this image has more dark in it, so it's definitely starting to climb on the left-hand side because of the wood. That's totally normal. That's what you want to look for. However, you do want to pay attention to the red because, again, the red is where you're going to see those skin tones. Okay, so be cautious of if you're photographing on a dark backdrop or a dark wood or anything like that, that it's not crawling up the left-hand side, which it is in this picture. It's definitely underexposed. So I'm going to have to fix the exposure and make sure that it's evened out for the rest of the gallery. And then, of course, this one is blown. You can see the histogram is crawled up the right side, and that is not what we want. So I'm not going to fix the exposure until I have addressed the way I want to edit this. And I always pick a preset first just to make sure that, you know, I'm happy with it and whatever. However, I'm not going to go through presets right now because if you don't have the preset, it's not going to work for you. But I do know that if you are interested, no pressure or anything, that this picture is from an R6. So this preset looks pretty good. I like to have like a quick one clicker type preset. And I do know that, let me just see here. There was a few that I really liked from this pack. So yeah, that's a good one too. So I am just going to show you guys how I'm going to edit these without using a preset. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring it into Photoshop. So when you are editing, the whole point of presets is not to waste all your money, but to save you time. And so when you are buying presets that maybe don't necessarily look good on your images, you're going to have to learn how to tweak them. And I'm going to show you how to do that right after we make our own custom preset. So first things first is I try to make sure the white balance is good. And because I'm making a fresh preset, I obviously want it to look good. And I'm going to click on the eyedropper tool and I am going to try and pick a part of the image that's gray. So it's not always flawless. This is just like a DIY style. Yeah, sometimes it's like way too blue. And then sometimes it works out perfectly, but we're just going to keep trying a different part of the image. And sometimes you just got to eyeball it. Let me see here. Okay, that's actually pretty close to normal. I would say it's a little bit cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to warm it up a little bit. So I'm going to just grab my white balance slider and I am going to pull it over to the right side. And now I'm pretty happy with that. So if I want to double check, you know, how normal it looks, you know, eyes can play tricks on us. I always like to press Q on my keyboard. And so now I'm looking at it compared to the original, which is pretty warm because I had my Kelvin set pretty high. And I can see that there still is a lot of blue in the tone. So I'm going to warm it up a little bit more until it looks pretty natural to me. And personally, I think that's pretty darn good. So as you can see, the baby does have some magenta in his skin. So I'm going to try and pull the tint over to the left just a little bit just to even it out. I don't want to go crazy. Always remember that you want to go slow. You don't want to overdo anything. Okay. Now I feel like we're going to go down and we're going to adjust the curves layer. Now the curves layer is great for adding depth and really fixing everything. My feed cut out. Okay. Oh, look at all the comments here. Okay, I just got to make sure that we're still live. What the heck? Okay. I think we're good. Sorry, you guys. Sometimes internet can be unstable. Hello, hello. Okay, look it. See, I pulled up my phone and all of a sudden I can see people watching me. Hello, hi. Okay, we have Colorado, Washington, Thief River, North Texas, Michigan, Kentucky. Hi, Eve. Awesome. Okay, so if anything happens, no, okay, look it. See, I pulled up my phone and okay, my gosh. Sorry. You know what? It's always something that happens to me where I like lose internet and then I keep going and nobody tells me and I have no idea. So, Eve, I'll ask you if I get cut off or anything wonky happens with the connection, can you please video call me on Facebook Messenger? Okay, so now we are going to do the curves layer. So as a, just a little cheat, you can actually go to the point curve right beneath it and you can click on medium contrast. And that is just a really quick way to get a nice curve layer in your curves. And it's going to add depth, it's going to add pop, it's going to really make it look a lot less flat. Okay, so let's just see the before and after so far. So this is before, this is after. Very minimal adjustments. And you guys are going to be able to see this better when you are working on your own pictures on your own screen, because I hate to say it, but Facebook does not give an accurate representation. Okay, now don't be afraid that if you want to play around with the curve layer, then now you have the perfect spot and the perfect curve that you can actually get creative. So go onto the little circle here and you are going to go to like a mid-tone section, or yeah, right here is good. I'm just going to pull it up a little bit just because I want it a little bit brighter. And then, yeah, so now I like that. It's a little bit brighter and I like it. Okay, so again, we're going to go before and after. So that's pretty nice so far. Now, is there any color tones that I'm not loving in this picture? Let me see. So I'm going to press Q on the keyboard and I'm just going to go before and after. And the goal is not to have an insanely different look on your preset. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure that you are going back and forth just to double check and make sure everything looks really good. Now we're going to go to the color mixer and I am going to I'm going to do all actually. Why not? Let's just have some fun here. So I'm going to click on here and I'm just going to see if I just want to change it just a smidge. So if I go to the right, it's going to go more green. If I go to the left, it's going to go more red. Sometimes I like to have a baby with a little more red in their skin tone just because it really does make, everything look really, really newborn-like, I guess. And then, okay, so we're good. So now what we're going to do is we are going to copy and paste that preset. So I'm going to press Command A, and I'm going to sync the preset over all of the images. Okay, so synchronize, that's what I want, and I'm pressing OK. Now everything has a really nice look to it. It's all uniform. It looks great. Wow, that is beautiful. Like, I don't think I could have done a better job on that preset. Okay, so now one thing I'm looking at the background and it's looking a little yellow. So I'm actually going to target that specifically. So I'm going to go over to the hue, or not the hue, sorry. I'm going to go to point color and I'm going to click on this and I'm going to click here. And I'm just going to, and I've got to watch the skin tone too, you guys, because this will affect the skin tone. I'm just pulling it to the left because it's going to turn that yellow hue into like a darker color. Okay, so I just want to see, I'm watching the skin now, and I'm going to just click this off. Yeah, it definitely affected it. So you know what, I'm going to just reset that, and I'm going to do that with a mask. So I'm going to go into the mask, into the background, and I'm going to, now I've got the entire thing selected, and I'm going to now do that point color, or over here, and I'm going to give it more of a red hue. And then if it's too strong, I'm going to pull that saturation down because I don't necessarily need to have it like, crazy. So now I am going to click on that mask and I'm actually going to save that mask as a preset. So I'm going to call it a wooden backdrop de-yellower because I am not good with names. Okay. And now when I go over here, I just have to click on background, and then I have to click on the preset, and I'm going to click on wooden backdrop to yellower. And now we are looking good. Okay, so we're just going to click on the before and the after, and everything's looking real good. Okay, so a couple things we're going to target now is the histogram, right? Remember how I said we have to double check and make sure the histogram is looking good. So we're going to go up to the create a new mask, and we're just going to brush. And the reason why I'm not clicking on baby or person or whatever is because sometimes it's just too slow. So I'm just going to bring up the exposure. I'm also going to bring up the shadows a little bit, and then I'm going to bring the highlights down just because I don't want the highlights too crazy. Okay. And again, I want the same settings. So I'm just going to save that as a preset. Lighten baby's face. I'm just going to call it that. Okay, and then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on new, brush, and then I'm going to click on preset, lighten baby's face. Okay, and I'm just going to, just so that everything matches and looks the same. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with everything. I'm going to press Command A, and we are going to open now into Photoshop. So the beauty of this is all the settings that we've just done are saved as an XMP file, and those are called a sidecar. So sometimes when you look at your files, your external hard drive, and you're like, what are all those XMP files beside it? Every single time you do anything on that raw file within within Bridge or Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw, it's going to create a XMP file or a sidecar. Okay. So now I just want to talk about workspace. When you are working in Photoshop, you know, it's going to look different for every single person. You don't need to be super knowledgeable on how to set up your Photoshop, but a little trick is to go to Window, Workspace, and then click on Photography. Okay, and then Photography is going to give you everything that you need and are most likely to use when working. So I'm going to show you a couple little tricks that are super cool. And these are called, well, they're just a few different ways to adjust your image or your crop or your background with Generative Fill. So Generative Fill is AI, and it's something that Photoshop has been working on the last couple years, and I've had it officially launched for over a year, and it's pretty good. So I'm going to click on crop, and I always like to have my ratios at 5:7. And so the cool generative fill that you're going to be able to use is right in here where you're looking right now. So fill, you're going to click on generative expand. So this works really great when maybe you want to have more, let's say at the bottom of your crop rather than the top. Okay, so if I got the baby too low in the frame, this is a great way for me to fix it without having to do cloning or have to do anything funky. So I'm just going to press done because I have generative expand selected, and I am going to let Photoshop try and figure it out and fix it for me. Now, sometimes Photoshop can be a little aggressive and it's not always great. And then you have to maybe redo it, but a lot of times it's pretty darn good. So I'm just going to pick up my thing and just see because I never can see these comments on time. Jacqueline, make sure that you have your Photoshop and your Adobe Camera Raw updated. That is maybe a setting that was turned off, but it should definitely be there. Awesome. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you, guys. I'm just checking the messages real quick. I'll be doing this periodically just because for whatever reason it doesn't show up in real time for me. Okay, so the great thing about Generative Fill is that it gives you 3 options at least, and usually one of them is pretty good. Now, this one I would say is really pretty natural, so I'm going to remember that. Number 2 is good. And number 3 is not as good, but number 2 is pretty good. Now, I just wanted to let you know that a new feature they've added is to maybe click and generate something similar. So maybe you like what they did for you, but maybe you're not like totally in love with it and you think they could do better. Then you're going to click on generate similar, and then it should do another one pretty close to what they just did, but a little bit better. So definitely take advantage of that tool because it's new. It's a new feature and it works quite well. Of course, I was perfectly happy with what it gave me, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But so now we have 6 different options. So I'm just going to look through them. And that's real good. So what I'm looking at is anything that looks digitally created. Yeah, this one wasn't any good. This one was the one that I was going to go for. This one is a no-go. So I'm just going to look at the first 3. This one's pretty good. This one's pretty good too. But I think I still like number 5. Okay, so now we're going to just flatten it. Now, I want you to know that every single time that you use anything inside or anytime you do anything inside Photoshop, you're going to want to make sure that you are flattening it in between actions, because otherwise Photoshop can get really confused and it doesn't really know what to do. Okay, so what I did here was I just selected with a marquee tool, and I am going to use Generative Fill just because I have a few pieces of wood back there that I'm not loving. And so I'm just going to let it fix it. And again, it did a really good job. So I'm just going to press flatten it. Okay. And then I'm just going to fix up this fur because honestly, I don't love the way it was placed. I regretted it after I did it, and that is totally normal. You're allowed to make mistakes. We're creatives. Sometimes we try something, we don't like it. And the baby's already posed nicely, so we don't want to move the baby. But sometimes you can fix it in Photoshop, and that's what I'm going to do. So definitely don't just rely on fixing things in Photoshop, because that's gonna be your downfall. I don't know if this really even helped me at all. Not really. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm not gonna worry about that part right here. I am gonna worry about this though, because I want to see less of the baby inside the bucket. So I'm going to type in remove, and I'm just gonna let Photoshop go through this. So I try not to spend too much time fixing things in Photoshop, because as you can see, it's time consuming and nobody wants to be wasting their time fixing things that could have just been fixed in real time. So that's actually not too bad. Let me see this one. That's probably the most realistic. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. Okay. And then with this, I'm just going to type in remove because I just think it's too long. And if you're wondering what this little piece is, I always use something under the buckets that I use, and it's just a jute layer that has been through the wash. They're burlap sacks essentially, and you just get burlap fabric or cut up a burlap sack that has been used for a tree through the winter, and then just throw it in the washing machine and it'll get all crinkly and everything. Okay, so now I'm just going to fix this little edge right here just because it's distracting, and then we are going to fix his skin. So I'm not going to be editing every single one of these pictures, but I am just going to show you how I do different steps, and then I'm going to show you a full edit in ePhoto, just so that you can see what ePhoto is capable of, but also what we're capable of in Photoshop. Okay, so we're going to flatten here. As you can see, we want to get rid of any kind of markings and eye boogies and stuff. So I'm going to press Command J. Now Command J is going to create that duplicate layer as you see on the right hand side. And we are just going to get rid of the eye boogies. And we are going to get rid of the soother mark. And if you're trying to do this and you just can't get it to look good, then you can draw around the area and tell Generative Fill to fix it, and it will do that. Another thing that you can do is hold your space bar down and just kind of keep drawing around the areas that you want to fix. This is kind of like a little cheat. Okay, and now I am just going to tell Generative Fill to remove. So sometimes it doesn't work great and sometimes it does, whatever. Well, let's just see what happens. And it's just a little bit faster than maybe just individually telling Generative Fill to do that. So we are gonna let it try. So it did a pretty good job, and you can always take a black brush and just erase any part that you don't want it to do, and then just press flatten. Okay, so now I'm going to press Command J again, and I'm just going to just patch tool that myself, just because eyelashes can be a tricky area. However, Generative Fill is pretty darn good at eyelashes, so that's really great. Okay. Okay, so I have a new skin smoothing action that, if I like it on this picture, anything, yeah, we'll see here. Might be too strong. I like to see the texture inside when I'm editing. So that's why I do like Evoto, just because Evoto is so affordable and it's just fast and it gets most of it. Okay, so did a pretty good job. Let's just see here. I'm just gonna lower the opacity. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do some of my other skin smoothing. Okay, now when I do full retouching of skin, I try to not make the baby look fake and over retouched. That can happen quite often, and then what happens is it doesn't, like, you lose the realness of the baby, you lose the texture, all that stuff. So it can be a little bit challenging to not go overboard, especially with newborns, just because they have such blotchy skin and everything. One of my very favorite skin actions that I don't sell, but I'm just letting you know what I use personally, is the deblotch medium from Totally Rad. It's a fantastic action, and if you like the texture but the blotching removal, then it's an excellent action, sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna lower the opacity and I'm just going to just fix his skin. It's just an action that I have, and I just find it works really well on red blotches. Okay, so now whenever I use an action, I always just make sure like it doesn't look too crazy. So I want to bring back that pink hue to the side of the cheek, so I'm just gonna brush back on that red on the cheek here. Okay, and then I'm going to press flatten it, and then I am just going to add some blush, and I am going to, and this is something that we always do as professional newborn photographers, and I know that it sounds ridiculous, but what happens is when we are trying to correct skin tone, what happens is we can take too much out of the natural pinks in the newborn skin, and we need to add it back. And so that's the whole point of it. It's not to try and make the baby look like they're wearing makeup. That's not it at all. Okay, so I am just going to now, I'm going to press sharpen. Oh, look at, now all of these are like popping through my you're going to be able to rewatch this. Yes, absolutely, Tara. The replay is going to be on for 24 hours. at least, but definitely make sure that you watch it within the 24 hours or you won't be able to get any of the gifts that I give away at the end. So, okay, so yes, I'm just going to also show you another trick real quick. So when I go to adjustments, I always like to have a really pretty pop in the skin and make sure that the levels and the numbers are looking good. So I didn't talk about the numbers yet that I look at in Adobe Camera Raw because not everybody has Adobe Camera Raw. They might have Lightroom. So we're going to look at the numbers in Photoshop instead. However, I'm just going to show you what I do first. So I clicked on levels in the adjustments panel. So adjustments, levels, and then as you can see, the right hand dial, I'm going to pull it right over until it hits that little line. Okay, that's probably the most important thing you're going to do. And then if you want to add more depth, then you can pull the left one over just a bit. But I don't want to add any more on this picture. And also if you want to brighten the midtones, you can pull the left up on the middle. Okay. So as you can see now, that is a really beautiful pop. And because it's on a mask, you could actually brush off any parts that you don't like. Or what you could do is you could press Command C and you could, pop it on to all the images like that. I'm just pressing Command V. Or you could make it an action. And I've made it an action already and I sell it. Oh, see, you know what? These pictures were already too bright. These two. So I'm just deleting it. Okay. Okay, so now baby's looking pretty good. So now we're just going to finish off with our actions. So as you can see, my actions are right up here and I'm going to press snap and flatten. This is part of my actions that I sell. And then I'm going to press Mom Tog Best Sharpen, and that's how I finish my pictures. Okay, so that's how I would do it. And that's a really beautiful image. I would flatten it and then I would save it. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to save as. So I just want to show you guys something really quickly right now. Okay, so if you ever go to save as and it tells you that, I'm just going to show you actually. So save as, it's going to do this. It's not going to let me have a JPEG file. And the reason why is because this image is in 16-bit. And you want to edit in 16-bit because it's going to give you that there's more color range. So if you want to make yourself an action, you could. What you could do is, I'm just going to show you how this works. So you're going to go to the you can create a folder. It's called new set. Okay, so I'm going to do finishing or saving. Let's do this, saving and finishing. Okay, so if you want it to be quick, what you can do is you can, you're going to create an action. So we're going to call it 16-bit to 8-bit conversion. You can pick a color. I'm going to make it red. Okay, I'm going to go to, let me see, mode. So image, mode, 8 bits. Okay, now the file at the top says RGB/8. Now when I go to save it, it's going to allow me to. So I have to press stop because I've created the action. Okay. So now I'm going to go to save as, and it should now it's allowing me to click on JPEG. Okay. So that's what I want to do. So I'm going to press save, and then I want to make sure that the quality is 12 and press OK. Now another thing that you want to do is make sure that your image sizes are 300 resolution pixels per inch. You want 300 pixels per inch. Okay, that's really important when you're saving your finished images. Okay, so we've done this edit inside here. I'm going to do one really quickly in a photo, and then I'm going to come back in here and do this composite here and show you a few more things. But for anybody that is on a restriction for time, I'm just going to do this just so that you can see this full image, because sometimes I can get carried away with teaching and going through the steps and then I take way too long. So I'm going to try and be sufficient with my time with you guys. Okay, So we're going to do a little bit of a different edit, and I am going to give you guys this ePhoto edit that I use. I'm just going to make these all small here. And I have created one, so it's called Mumtog ePhoto 1. So what it's going to do is it's going to start off with the color adjustments. So it's going to be a different edit because it's obviously a pre-styled preset that I've already made. And I'm going to just show you how to adjust it. So first is, this is the look of it. It's obviously a little bit stronger than the look that I did in the other picture. So that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to reset a couple things. And so I'm just going to click on black and reset that, which I have. That's already less contrasty. And I'm going to reset the contrast because we don't need that either. I'm going to reset the white because we don't need that. And then the curves, let's see what we got here. So the curves is just a straight curve, and that's fine. Okay. So now it's looking pretty good. I'm just going to show you before and after. So before, after, before, after. Okay. So, you know what? I'm just going to save this preset as a less contrasty one. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the portrait retouching on the right hand side, and the settings are already set. So as you can see, I'm just going to show you the before and after. Before, after. So we're missing a couple things. We've got a few little flecks here. So we're just going to pull the freckles and acne all the way to the right. And it's done a pretty darn good job. It has already pretty much smoothed out all the skin. And it's kind of mind-blowing how fast it is. But obviously, as you can see, obviously we haven't been able to fix this part. We could try and liquefy it. So you would need to bring this into Photoshop. But that's okay because it's literally done all this work in like half a second, right? So I just want to show you a few little things that are important to watch out for when you are working in ePhoto. So there's a few different steps that you can take. First, you're going to start with the color, then you're going to do with the portrait retouching, and then you're going to go with background, etc. So a few things that you want to pay attention to when you are working in ePhoto is to remember that less is more. So the one that I use all the time is probably the blemish removal. I would say it does a pretty good job. You can click on the healing tool and do little teeny weeny little fixes if it misses something, which is pretty handy. Okay. And if you need to just do a little patch, it's not quite as good as Photoshop for the patchwork, but that's okay. Okay. And then, so press OK. And then for the body blemishes, you're going to slide on the infant body blemishes. So just be cautious. Like if it overdoes it, then reduce it. It's not the end of the world. Like it's a slider. It's pretty fast. Okay, another part of the skin retouching, you can adjust things. So like I don't maybe necessarily want the baby to have facial contouring necessarily in this picture because he's got some pretty good definition of everything. The textured smoothing is great. But if you find that, let's just say you don't like the effects of it, or maybe it's doing something that you don't want it to work on, what you can do is you can actually go up to where the skin retouching label is, and you can press on the manual tuning, and then you can actually brush away what you don't want it to touch. So I'm going to click on the negative because I'm going to brush away, and I'm going to just bring the slider down, and I'm just going to brush over because I just want to make sure that it's not going to affect these parts. So that's something that's really convenient, especially if, let's just say that you have the body skin tone. So for instance, I'm going to show you this. This is something you really have to watch out for. So I'm going to pull the AI Unified Body Complexion all the way to the right just to show you. And sometimes it really just like does too much. Like now it made the the skin look dead. So you really have to watch that. And I was going to see if I can brush that off specifically, but I think I would have to, again, go here and I would have to do the fingers specifically. So I'm going to press OK. And now we're going to go back down to the AI body and see now it's left some color in the fingers. So that's really good to pay attention to. Okay, another slider that you can use is the temperature that's going to collect from the infant's face. And it's going to affect just the skin, not the entire picture. So for instance, if I thought the baby was too blue, I would add some warmth. If I thought the baby was too magenta, I would add some green. Okay, that's where I would do that. Another thing too is that let's just say that you are maybe like, okay, a picture here. Maybe you have two people in the picture and it doesn't know where the baby's face is. Then you would click on either individual or click on right here. And you would click and then you would choose what the face is and then you would sync it to all images. Okay, so that's just a little trick that you can do to make sure that everything is doing it correctly. So I'm just going to click on the less contrasty one. So the less contrasty one is almost too washed out. So I'm going to click on the Evoto one. And now that's added some more color in. But as you can see, his face is more magenta. This over here is pretty yellow and this over here is red. So now I'm just going to show you what to do to adjust these certain parts of the face and to work on that specifically. So just like in Photoshop, I think we need to target a certain part of the picture rather than work on the entire image. So we're going to go to masking. We're going to click on whatever part we want to work on. And right now, actually, I do want to work on the face. So thank you very much, Evoto. So the baby's face is looking slightly magenta to me. So I'm just going to pull the tint to the left side just because I want his skin tone to match the rest of his body. And I'm also going to up the exposure just a tiny bit, not too much. And then I'm probably going to warm him up just a smidge. Okay. Now we're going to do another mask. And we're going to click custom. And I'm just going to paint it on. So I'm going to paint on over here because I feel like right here needs a little bit more warmth. And probably maybe just like bring up the shadows a little bit. Okay. And then also probably just a little bit of green tint just because this part was pretty magenta. Okay, so now we're going to go back over to the skin and we are going to, again, just, you know, adjust the sliders how we want. I'm going to bring the freckles down because I don't think that is important. Infant body blemishes. Let's pull this all the way to the right and see what happens. So it's left all of this poop over here. So that's something that we may have to target inside Photoshop. But so far, so good. I'm also looking for a funky line. Sometimes in Evoto, when you get a little bit carried away, it can create like this harsh separation line. And you want to watch out for that. So I'm going to try and create that. And I think I'm going to create that with the body. Yeah. So I'm just doing this just on purpose to show you guys. So if you ever get this thick line all the way around, it's because your settings are too strong. So you need to reduce that because it's taking away from anything natural and making it's just too different. I'm going to also do the face complexion. And then now, like, obviously it's not perfect. It's AI, you guys. Okay, just remember that. Like, don't think that this is going to be like the one fix all. Like, sometimes I have to still bring it into Photoshop and fix it. But when you do find the settings that you like, you can sync them and batch them to everything else. So another thing with skin radiance, it's another slider, is basically what it's doing is it's making all of the highlights of your image glow. It's going to give that really pretty glow. Okay. Just don't go crazy on it because it's going to make it could make the baby look too white. And I'm also getting this like funky little spot right there. So I'm just gonna look at the before and after. Okay, so far I'm looking and I'm liking. It's pretty darn good. Obviously I'm gonna have to take it into Photoshop and just fix this little poopy area, which is totally fine. Another thing I wanted to mention too is that there is a makeup section, and they've added a newborn slider into it. The reason why this is handy is because it does bring more dramatic attention to the lash line, and I think a little bit of color to the cheeks and the lips. So don't go crazy with it because it looks ridiculous otherwise. So I'm just gonna, just for kicks, show you. Like, that's ridiculous. So just, you know, keep it in check, but that is what that is. Okay, another thing that you can now do is go to the backdrop. So the backdrop currently is turned off. So in order to use it, and this is not perfect either, but if you're, you know, don't want to go into Photoshop and it's too overwhelming, then just try this. Okay, so you can click on distractions to get rid of anything on the fabric that is not, you're not a fan of it. If this was not a textured fabric, then I could click on clean backdrop and then it would probably, yeah, it would smooth it out, which is great if it wasn't a textured backdrop, but it is. So obviously, like for the ground, I'm gonna leave it at 0, but I could maybe bring the background up to smooth out that background. So that was helpful. Okay. Now I just want to show you that you can also use this little manual tuning and you can get rid of areas that you don't want it to do. So for instance, let's just say that it was messing up right here. Then I would brush that off, right? And then press OK. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to show you now how to paste those settings onto other images. So we're going to just paste them onto the ones that are not composite. So I've held my command key down on my keyboard and I have selected all the other images. Now I have to make sure that I'm on the image that I want to paste the settings onto, and I'm going to press sync. Okay, so now let's just quickly go over and see the other images and see what they look like. Like, it's pretty impressive, right? Like, it's done in like seconds. See, so this one didn't work out. So I have to turn that off, and I also have to flip this image. So I'm just going to rotate it. Press OK. But that's pretty awesome, hey? Like before, after, like that's impressive. Okay, let's go on to this one. So in Photoshop, I'm still gonna have to clean this part up, which is totally fine. And then let's just see what it did for this one. So this one, it did not do a very good job. So let's just redo that. Okay, and let's just see if it can figure it out. Okay, and then let's clean the backdrop and just see. And color band. Yeah, so not great. It didn't really do a very good job on this one, but that's okay. And as you can see here, see, sometimes it's going to screw up. So you need to make sure that you turn things off and just figure out what part it screwed up. So pretty much the whole thing. So I'm just going to shut that off on that picture. And again, it did something there too. So I'm just going to reset it on this picture. And looked great on that picture. See, it's screwed up on here. So obviously I'm just going to remove that. But looks good on this one, this one, this one. Yeah, so I did a really great job. And now we're going to paste this onto here and we're going to sync. And I'm just going to grab my phone again and just check and see if anyone's been commenting. Oh, that's okay, Cassie. No worries at all. Yeah, totally, Elizabeth. Yeah, there is going to be a replay. And everyone who is just chiming in, we're going to be done fairly soon. I'm going to let everyone go. I'm not going to keep everyone here all night, but I do have some gifts to give away in a few minutes. So I have just synced the the settings onto here. I'm loving it. So let's just compare the edit. Okay, so here is the edit, and then obviously I'd have to fix this part and fix the crop, but let's look at the one that I did in Photoshop. So this one's definitely warmer, but like honestly, like it's pretty stinking close. And it was literally just like a minute. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting tool. So I am going to just show you what I would do for the images that, okay, let's just, let's copy and paste these onto here. And then I'm going to bring these back into Photoshop. Okay, I am going to just have to lower the exposure on this one because these ones were bright, remember? Oh, right, and I forgot to tell you guys the numbers to look for in the histogram. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So this one has obviously got some pretty dark shadows, so we're going to want to do a manual. Am I selling that preset? No, I'm going to be giving it tonight. So lucky you guys, but you only get it if you watch it within the replay. And the replay, you only will get it if you watch it within the first 24 hours of right now. Because I can't just give everything away for free forever. I'm going to go up to the mask here, and I'm going to brush this here. And I'm going to bring up the shadows because I don't want it to be as dark. Okay, and then I'm going to go back down here. Okay, so I am doing both of these inside eVoto just so that when I do the composite, it's going to not take me as much time. Okay, so I'm going to export all of these now. So I'm going to export them like this way. So every time you export, you should either, if you're going to be finished with eVoto, like from eVoto, then just export it as a JPEG. But I am going to be exporting them as a TIFF because if there's any other fine tuning that I want to do inside Photoshop, then I'm still working on a high resolution folder. Okay. So I'm going to now press export, and it's going to export all of these. And you can see here the progress of the export. Okay, so it's pretty fast. And we're gonna just, okay, so now it's done. And so that probably cost me like $1. Okay, that's how cheap it is to use. So now I am just going to, I'm gonna do an edit right in. I'm gonna use the TIFF files, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. So just gonna go back over here and then go down to the TIFFs, and I'm gonna grab these here and I'm gonna open them. Okay, so obviously there's like darkness around here that I'm just going to brush on. And remember how we already made a preset for that. So lighten baby's face. I'm gonna do that again. We're gonna brush that on, and we're just going to click on lighten baby's face. I know we're not gonna use his face from this, but I try to just keep everything the same so that everything matches. Okay, I am gonna go over here and I am just gonna bring those, no, that's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna bring the shadows up just a little bit. And then I'm gonna make a new mask, and I'm gonna just bring those highlights down just on his face. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna open these into Photoshop. And I'm just gonna show you 8303, where are they here? So this is before. Actually, the look is pretty close. Yeah, the look is pretty close. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how I would combine these two images. So the easiest thing to do would be to take the top of his head and put it on this picture. So we're going to do that. So we're going to create a blank layer, and we are going to go over to, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm doing, but getting carried away. Now I'm going to make sure they have to be in both the same bit number. So this is a 16-bit and so is this. They're both in the same bit number. So if it's saying, like, if it won't let you do it, it's because one file is in an 8-bit and you're working with the other file that's in a 16-bit. So I'm just saying that just in case you have any issues. Okay. So I'm going to click over here and I'm going to click on the option key and I've selected his face. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to line it up. Now, sometimes these can be a little bit tricky because it's obviously not a perfect lineup. And so what you're going to do now is you're going to hold or put the mask on and then you're going to press B for brush and you have to make sure that, ooh, so you know what, it really sharpened it. I don't like how it sharpened it so much. Okay, I'm just going to fix that preset. 1 second. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on detail. I don't want it to be up so high. Okay, I'm going to end up, you know what, I'm just going to re-export it because, yeah, that's going to frustrate me. So I don't like my images to be over sharpened. Okay. I'm just making sure, so that's 40 and that's 40. So I'm just going to actually re-export those two. It's not going to cost me anything. Oh gosh, I hope that it applied all the stuff on it. Let me see. That would not be good if it didn't. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. So basically, if you're wondering what I just did, I didn't like how sharp it was, so I just re-exported it. It's not going to charge me again because it is, it's the same file number. So, okay, I'm just going to get rid of these two and we'll just do this again. Okay. So we're just going to create that blank layer. So I just press the square with the plus in it, and then I'm going to go over here and we are going to click on the clone. Okay. And then we're going to line it up. Line, line, line. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. I'm just pasting. Okay. Now I'm just going to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Yeah, I could probably just make sure that, oh, I've got the full pixels. Okay. Now we're going to click mask and we're going to click B for brush and make sure it's a black brush because we want to brush off everything. So sometimes you're not going to have a perfect lineup, but that's the beauty of AI, is that we'll be able to use Generative Fill to fix anything that's not perfect. Okay, so I'm just making my brush real small. And then we're going to try and line up the face down to his chin just a little bit better in a minute. And this is, by the way, the safe way to do a froggy pose if you're brand new to newborn photography. This is the lazy version, but if it's the same theory. So if you are doing this pose, you would never let the baby be supported by themselves. You would be doing this as a composite, and that's why I'm doing this right now, is to just demonstrate how to do that safely. I also show how to do this pose, like the regular pose, with my two of my different courses. So the Essentials course as well as the Sweet Baby workshop. So if you want to know how to do it and have like more in-depth editing videos, the Sweet Baby workshop has that as well as the Essentials. Okay. So you're probably like, oh, you've got a thumb over here, you've got a bunch of different stuff. Right now I'm just focused on lining up the chin and the face. Okay, I'm gonna get to this in a minute. Well, I guess I could probably just take it off right now. Ugh, no, I cannot. No, right now that's what it is. Okay, see, now I'm getting carried away. Okay, we're going to deal with that in a minute. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up. So I'm going to actually just press Command T and I'm going to use my down arrow, because with like eyeballing it with my hand, I'm not steady enough and I'll just screw it up. So I'm just using my arrow on my keyboard to lower the baby's face. Okay, good. Okie dokie. Okay, so let's just see before and after. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to take a snapshot, because if we want to change anything, this is what we're going to come back to. And so the snapshot can be found at the very top in the history. So anything I do after this point will be able to come back to it if I end up changing my mind. Okay, so it's kind of like just a little way for you to record everything. Also, I'm going to put my actions back into button mode because I want to flatten it in between and fix anything that I might need to. So now that I'm looking at this, obviously I have this to fix. So let's just fix the obvious things first before we worry about lining up his wrist and his hand. So I'm just going to click on this and remove that. So let's do one thing at a time. And then I might need to go back through my files and just check and see if there's a picture with this that's in a better position. So this session was actually from 3 years ago. So it was from a live that I did inside my mentoring program. And yeah, this baby, I just did his he has a newborn sister right now and she looks identical to him. It's actually scary how much they look alike. Okay, so we're going to fix this part now because this is the rest of his shoulder. So we're going to tell it to add a shoulder. Okay, I'm going to press generate. Oh, and sometimes it does this, which is so annoying. Okay, so now what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to highlight it and just not tell it anything and just let it do its thing. Tamara, it shouldn't show the word eVoto if you've paid for credits, but if you haven't paid for credits, it's not going to remove its watermark. So if you're out of credits, that's when you're going to have the watermark. Yeah, because they're not going to give you the export for free. Okay, so this is a great ridge that I can pull out with Liquify. So I'm just going to show you how to do that real quick. So, because we're not worried about this. This is not important. This is part of a hand that I'm not going to be using. So I'm just going to press generate and hopefully it gets rid of it. What we need to focus on is the wrist and the arm and the face and the fingers. So and then also I'm just going to liquefy this in and I'm going to liquefy his shoulder. So like honestly, like I just grabbed 2 pictures and I wasn't sure if these ones were going to line up perfectly. So this is actually good. Okay, so I have clicked on Liquify. So I press Command Shift X and it brings me into Liquify. And I want it to be on forward warp tool. And I always pick the warp, the size of the brush that I want it to be. Okay, so we are essentially just like building him out like a little shoulder. Nothing that like is gonna look fake, but we do have to have some kind of edge that is going to look real. And also something I want to mention too is don't make a habit of editing at night. Anytime I ever edit at night, I always regret it. So FYI, try and not do that. And I might even just lower this. Okay, so we're gonna press OK. And I might even just get rid of that after. Okay, so now we're gonna go into his file. So, oh shoot, I don't have the, maybe I do. One second. No, his folder is downstairs. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's okay. Let's see what we can do here with generative fill. So I'm gonna circle around this, and I'm gonna see if it does anything, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna run and get the hard drive with the other raw files on it. Let's see what it'll do. Okay, while it's doing that, I'm gonna run and get the hard drive just in case. Okay, let's see if it did anything. Why didn't it do anything? Okay, let's see here. Okay, no, it keeps saying that I'm breaking the guideline. Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna plug in the hard drive here, and we're just gonna see if there's an image that will work better. So this is good. You guys can see what a real struggle can be when you have two images that don't line up. Okay. It's gotta be that one. Oh no, it wouldn't be. $8304, $8303, $8301. Oh. Let's see. Let's take a snapshot. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. Okay, so this is a trick that I do, so I didn't even need to go and get that hard drive. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, because I've taken a snapshot, I'm gonna take another one just to be safe. This is the needs to fix wrist. So everything up to that point is good. It's just that the wrist and, well, this part is not good either, and the backdrop, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna press Command A. And what that's doing is that's selected the entire canvas, and I'm going to press Command C, and that's going to copy it. And then I'm going to click back on the history the snapshot, and I'm going to press Command V. That's going to paste it. And then what you can do is you can go to your background layer, press Command J. I know this sounds ridiculous, you guys, but this is what you need to do sometimes. So I am going to basically take this part, and I'm going to press Command C, and then I want to go back. I press Command D, and now I'm going to just hide it, and I'm going to press Command V, and so now this is going to, we're going to try and line it up and fix it. Okay, so what I do is I will, first I'm going to line it up. So I'm going to lower the opacity just so that I can make sure it's lining. And then if I want to warp it or distort it or whatever, then I can. So I had pressed Command T, and I am going to press distort because I want, oh, I'm gonna have to press warp, sorry. I want to line up the pixels with the other layer. And I think this is how I must have done it last time, because obviously it wasn't a perfect match, which can be a real nuisance. So try and get it perfectly lined up when you're doing this in real time, because otherwise very frustrating. Okay, so now we're just going to delete that, and we're going to bring that up. The heck, did I grab the wrong one? Oh my gosh, why am I so dumb? Oh my gosh, sorry, I grabbed the wrong one. Okay, let's do this again because I am not using my brain. Okay. That's why it was lining up so nicely. Okay, press Command C, go back over here, press Command V. Okay, now we're gonna do this one more time. See, you guys are getting a good lesson in. Okay, so now we are going to lower it just to make sure that it's all lining up properly. So the cheek is lined up nicely. And then we would warp it just like I was doing before, but with the wrong copy. And we're just going to kind of just bring in that front little finger, and then we're going to just line it up with the wrist here. So you just got to try and line it up as best as possible. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be better than if you tried to clone it or try to do something crazy. And I know I successfully did this because I edited it last time. Okay, let's see the damage. Okay, so now we're going to go 100%, and then we are going to make the mask, and we are going to brush off the edges. Okay. And what clients don't know, don't hurt them. Okay, and then what we would do is we would my gosh, my eyeballs are playing tricks on me. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and then we are going to match up the color of the fingers on these ones, and the parents won't even be able to know. Okay, good. And then I'm going to tell Photoshop to just remove this. So I'm telling it to clean up the edge. I know you guys are committed to seeing me get this done, so let's do this. I've never seen that, Tamara. What you're talking about, free Voto? That's not happened to me. I've been using it for like over a year or two. So that's interesting. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, Generative Fill is very useful because like obviously I couldn't do like a perfect edge over here. And then I'm gonna just like push that stuff in too. Okay, and we're gonna flatten it, and then I'm just gonna tell it to do a quick little boop, 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 boop. Okay, I think that one's pretty good actually. And then, okay. Yeah. So I know it seems like finicky, but I would definitely go through and like refine the edges and then just make sure that everything like lines up properly. And sometimes like I will go through and check at another picture and make sure that like if I'm missing a part or whatever, that it looks good. Okay, again, we're gonna take a snapshot and then I'm just gonna go up to here. Okay, and this is the way his leg was in this one, and this is the way his leg is in this one. So I actually think I'm just gonna grab his leg from here and press Command C, and then I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna pop it on. So just so that okay, there we go. Now I am just going to pop it on and just line everything up just so that we have like a normal looking leg and the shoulder looks normal and everything looks normal. Because sometimes with these types of images and their composites and everything, especially when you have to like build it up out of nothing like this picture, then you just want to make sure that everything looks normal and real. Okay. So that's what I would do, and then I would just take a little black brush and don't ever feel like model calls are not good money, because let me tell you something. This client of this family just had their third child in 3 years. They came in for this model call, for this live. They ended up not buying anything at the time, and I was like, oh, that's okay, like whatever. And that's why I never really edited anything out of this session. I only edited a few that I wanted to do with the class, and that was it. Guess what they did? They came on with their second child, and they bought a $2,500 album. And then they had their third child just like a few months ago and bought another album. And now they've bought an album for him. And so now I actually have to go through and edit his entire session. And yeah, so don't ever feel like a model call is wasted money or wasted time on your part, because you just never know what they're going to do. And the reason why they're buying an album is because they ended up buying an album for their daughters, and they're like, now he needs one too. So yeah, so that's actually why I'm like being really specific, because then I don't have to re-edit this picture later. Anyways, I'm going to use Supreme Care, and this is in my Photoshop actions, which are a lifesaver for me. So obviously it's too much, so give me a second. I am going to reduce the action. Okay, so I always reduce everything. And you can take a black brush and brush it off of anywhere you don't want to use it. Okay, and so just took some of it out, and then I would probably, take out some of the blotchy colors with a color brush. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that really quickly, and then we're going to be done and give away some gifts. So I'm going to press Command J, and I am going to click on the eyedropper tool. So the eyedropper tool, I want to click on an area close to where I want to brush on, okay? And their color is right there. Then I'm going to press B for brush. I'm going to bring my brush down to color, and I'm going to bring the opacity down to like under 15. And then I'm just going to brush on anything with a funnier color that maybe I'm not loving. Okay, then I'm going to hold the option tool, and I'm going to click on it again, and I'm just going to brush over here just to kind of blend it. And then always only do this on a duplicate layer, because what can happen is you can desaturate the skin way too much, and that is not good. Okay, and also not everything doesn't have to look exactly the same. Okay, Like, you don't want the entire face to look the same color because that's just not normal. That's not natural. I'm probably going to just deblotch his skin just because I like the way it looks and it gives a creamy effect. So I'm just going to bring that back up to normal here. Okay, and we're just going to deblotch that. And I just love the effect. I'm sure I could have been their spokesperson because I just love this action. Okay. So I'm not gonna do any more editing on this guy for now, just because I'm not, I do want to just work a little bit more on this parts of his face, but I'm not gonna keep you guys. I'm gonna give you guys some gifts. So I am going to just show you what I'm giving you. So first I am going to give you a $50 coupon code, and you can use it on anything education inside MomTog Educate. So I am just going to type that into the chat. Okay, so momtogeducate.com. If you want, you can use it towards the early bird sale for the safety course that is going on Monday. You can use it for then. Amanda, you said, how do you go about doing a model call for newborns? I'll just go in like mom groups and just say I need a model call. Or I'll message people that I've worked with in the past and ask them if they have any babies that they are interested in. Like if they have any friends that have just had babies and they want a free session. Okay, where is this chat here? Yeah, I want to pop out. This is so weird. Okay. Yeah, you can do that too. You could do a meta ad for sure. What f-stop do I use? I use mainly f2.5. So, let's just look and see. Like this one. This is f2.5, yeah. So, hopefully you guys can still see my screen. And also I was going to give you guys a coupon code for mentoring if it's something that you guys have been interested in and have been on the fence about it. Mentoring, you can find all the information. I'm just going to pop the link in right here. Mentoring, you can find all the information at momtogeducate.com. And momtogeducate.com has all of the courses that I have available. So the newborn safety course is going to be going on sale for an early bird price. Currently, you can look and see all the info about it. And as you can see, the early bird price is coming soon. It's going to be active on Monday, and you will be able to purchase it. I mean, you could purchase it right now for full price, but you don't have to. You'll get it on sale on Monday, and you can use your discount code for that price if you want to. And so you're just going to use this coupon code man, I can't talk today. Bootcamp Save 50. This is the code that you're going to use to get $50 off of anything that you want. And then for the Evoto, I'm going to share with you guys the batch share. Yeah, it's going to give you guys this code to enter into Evoto. So I'm just going to pop that in there. So you guys can follow the instructions by Evoto's website, and you can take those presets from Evoto that I used this evening, and you can do that here. Okay. And if you guys are interested in any type of editing tools or anything that I was using, you guys can grab them on the MomTog Educate website under actions. So these just show the actions that I was using, like Supreme Care and like all of my favorites that I use And yeah, so do you guys have any questions? So $50 off of the safety course or any courses that you would like or are interested in, you can go for it. And also, if you're interested in mentoring, this code is going to be active for a short period of time, and you can join mentoring for 50% off. So if you want, you can do it for a monthly fee, and it's 8 months total. And I actually give my students one-on-one calls regularly. So I don't just do group calls anymore. I do a lot of one-on-one. So that is something that, like, if you're more of that type of person where you need like one-on-one calls, then we would do a Zoom call together, and you can book them every week. Well, I ask that my students are conscious of others wanting to get in as well. So you could book one every 2 weeks for sure, but you can message me every single day. And that is ongoing. So I'm just going to pop this in, and you guys can look over what is going to be included in the safety course. This is going on sale on Monday for the early bird pricing. I've also already shared the Avoto presets, and yeah, and then I showed you how to make a preset from scratch. So hopefully you guys, oh, I don't know, I'm clicking on Zoom. Hopefully you guys had fun this evening, and thanks for joining. The replay will be around for 24 hours, and let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm really excited for the newborn safety course that is happening we're launching it for Monday. Very, very amazing course. It's like crazy good. So I am very excited, and I partnered with Tennille McGee, and you can check her out. And yeah, everything's posted here. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to comment below and let me know. But thanks for taking the time, and have a great night, guys.